comparing coefficient. One of the topics that we look at, or we sometimes don't, or we confuse about that. However, comparing coefficient is very important topic. Why? Because we can use that method in solving quite a lot of different situations. So that's the reason why it is important. So like in this particular situation, yes, we can use long division. However, long division are more limited than comparing coefficient. So my advice, I know that apart from maths, you have other topics to learn. I would say learn comparing coefficient. It have much wider application than long division. Long division is extremely limited in its application. Okay, so let's see. We have a factor. What does the factor mean? That means that, let's say, 5 multiplied by 7. 5 is a factor, 6 is a factor. So it is numbers or expression, as in this case, multiply by each other, and that will give us an outcome, a product, like in this case, 30. So that's what it is. My 2x plus 3 was multiplied, obviously, by something more, and that in outcome we are getting that, which is what? A cubic equation. Okay, so what was it multiplied by? Well, it had to, in order for me to have x to the power of 3, I need to multiply x by what? X to the power of 2. Okay, but I don't have that. However, every quadratic equation have kind of like a general form, and we can use that. So we are saying we don't know what they are, but we know that factor, let's get into names, linear factor, is multiplied by quadratic, and as the outcome we have cubic. Okay, now straight away we can deal with our first value, because let's not forget that those two numbers here, when multiplied, so when I'm going to multiply 2x by ax to the power of 2, I'm going to get this value, which is 4x to the power of 3. So what does that mean? What value do I need to have here? 2, isn't it? So I understand that this value here will be 2 definitely. So that I'm going to get 4x to the power of 3. Okay, let me just rewrite that. And we're going to do our multiplication now. I encourage you to know this method because, like I'm saying, it has much wider application than just long division. Okay, so how do we do that? Again, we multiplying everything by everything. I very often do the arrows because that kind of helps me not to lose anything in between. Okay, let's do that. So 2x multiplied by 2x squared, we know that's going to be 4x to the power of 3. 2x multiplied by b, and again, if you are confused, you can always write it for yourself, that is to multiply by x, multiply by b, multiply by x. And honestly, there is nothing I can multiply here. All I can do eventually is to write x multiplied by x in an abbreviated form, meaning x to the power of 2. That's all what I can do. Okay, next one, 2x multiplied by c. Again, no multiplication here. I'm just writing letters, numbers together. 3 multiplied by 2. Now that can be multiplied. That is 6. Then x to the power of 2. 3 multiplied by b by x. That just 3 multiplied by b multiplied by x, and 3 multiplied by c is 3 multiplied by c. So as you can see, it looks a little bit more difficult than it is. Okay, so now let's compare coefficient. What does that mean? Coefficient are those numbers that stand in front of my variable. So yes, 4 is equal, 4 is true. Now we are looking at those variable, those numbers that stand in front of x to the power of 2. So on this side of the equation, I have 2. On the other side, I have 1. Again, if you are confused what to do with letters, think about what would you do if you had numbers. Let's say if you only had 2x squared and 6x squared, you will say what? 2 plus 6 together, that is 8. So I have 8x to the power of 2, isn't it? So that's exactly what we're going to write. We're going to say 2b plus 6. I will add them together. And then on the other side, we are told that that should give me minus 12. Okay, so I can find the value of b. I move my 6 to the other side. Therefore, change the sign. Minus 6, I want b, not b, multiplied by 2. What do? Divide both sides by 2. So therefore, value of b, I put that in my calculator, and I get that that's minus 9. Okay, next one. So then we are looking at x with no power. So on this side of the equation, I have 2c, 3b, and again, I'm writing, if I had them, I would add them, equal, and on the other side of the equation, I have minus 7. Now, I know the value of b, that's minus 9, so I can replace that. And now again, I need to find the value of c, so I move my number to the other side, change the sign. You are wondering, why am I not doing that multiplication? Because yes, you can, or no, you can do it at the end. Doesn't actually matter at all. So c equal, we put all of that in our calculator, and we get the value, which is 10. Or we could have gone the easy way. Look at that number here and that number here. Those are the two values that have no x beside it. They are as well equal. So again, to find the value of c, that will give me 10. Now, all I needed to do here is to work out what is the value of a, which I did in the beginning, b, and c, really. That's all. Why? Because I need to know what is that quadratic factor here. Why? Because then I can find the roots. So my quadratic factor, let's slide at 2x to the power of 2 minus 9x plus 10. How do I solve it? When you have a letter to the power of 2, what do? Minus b formula. So minus value of b minus 9 plus minus, again, value of b minus 9 to the power of 2 minus 4, multiply by value of a, which is 2, multiply by c, which is 10, everything under the square root, and everything divided 2 multiply by a, which is 2. Don't forget that formula is in your maths table. Yeah, make sure you know where it is. And therefore, let's find, so here we put that in the calculator and we get two values, 5/2, that's one root. Then the second one is 2. And let's not forget, we just need to do one more change. This has to be changed to a root. So when we have a factor, always remember that factor can be changed into a root and root into a factor. So here we are changing a factor into root. We equal that factor to 0. So we have 2x, 3 go to the other side, change the sign, then divide by 2. So my third root is minus 3/2. Now, just since we are on the topic, how do I change that to a factor? I take 5/2 to the other side, change the sign. That becomes my factor. If I don't want to have a fraction here, I'm saying, you know what? I'm going to multiply both of them by 2. So I'm going to have 2x minus 5. So that's just, I know that we're not looking for it here, but I'm just saying, should in case you need that knowledge. And again, excellent question for 6th, but for the 5th year as well.